Yo guys, Corey Nielsen here, Corey Nielsen Fitness. So, part two. Today we're going to talk about the most important rule or aspect to weight loss. Okay, if you don't get this rule right, I promise you, you will not lose weight. Okay, period. End of story. You're not going to lose weight unless you have this down. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, what are we going to talk about? Calories. Okay, if you're not eating the correct amount of calories, and I'll go into a little more detail, but if you're not eating the correct amount of calories, you just can't lose weight, okay? Calories are the most important aspect to your weight loss, or weight gain, or weight maintenance. The calories, you have to start with calories, okay? So, what is a calorie? It's basically just energy. That's all that it is it's a unit of energy. I believe 1 calorie raises the temperature of water 1 degree Celsius, and so that's all it is just a unit of energy that your body breaks down and turns into fuel, and then that's how you feed your body. So that's what a calorie is. Macronutrient. Okay, so you have your calories, okay, at the top. You go to your calories. You can break your calories down into what's called a macronutrient. So you have your calories here, and then below that you have 3 different macronutrients. It's a protein, fat, and a carbohydrate. If you added up all the calories that you ate in protein, fat, and carbohydrates, that would be how many calories you ate for the day. Okay, so think about that for a sec. You have to have that right. Calories, okay, below that, macronutrients. Your macronutrients are protein, fats, and carbs. All your macronutrients, the calories that come from those macronutrients, you add them all up, that's how many calories you eat through the day. Okay, and then you have your fiber. Now, fiber doesn't have calories. It's extremely crucial for you to get it. I guess I shouldn't overemphasize it that much because you can live without fiber, but if you want to be healthy, it's extremely crucial that you get some fiber into your diet and get the correct amount for you to feel healthy, and it'll help with your weight loss as well. And then the other thing is going to be water. So how much water should you drink? I tell people, I've read where it's divide your weight by 2. That's how many ounces you should drink. I say somewhere around 80 ounces, 100 ounces for a guy, 80 ounces, 70 ounces for a female, somewhere in that area. So that's what I would say with the water. Is a calorie equal to a calorie, though? So what I mean by that is, does 1 gram of protein, 1 calorie of protein, we'll say, to make it simple for you, 1 calorie of protein equal 1 calorie of a carbohydrate, or 1 calorie of protein equal 1 calorie of a fat? Okay, so the way that your body processes these macronutrients changes a little bit in how many calories you can eat throughout the day, and I'll go into more detail with that. But on the surface, don't think about it too much. For the most part, a calorie is a calorie, okay? There is some variance in the way that it's going to help with your weight loss and the way that you feel, but we'll keep it just as simple as we can for right now, and just think 2,000 calories is 2,000 calories for right now, and I'll go into more detail and explain to you exactly why 2,000 calories isn't exactly 2,000 calories. They don't equal out. A couple of the things that I don't want you guys to even worry about is, remember yesterday I talked about how it's 80%, we're worried about 80%, we're worried about the big stuff, and we're not worried about the small stuff. So some of the things that I don't want you to even worry about, one would be like meal timing. Don't worry about it, okay? Don't worry about like eating late at night. It really doesn't matter, as long as we don't eat too many calories in a day. Okay? The way that your body works is that you have a maintenance level, all right, of caloric intake. Let's call it 2,000 because that's a number that everyone likes. I don't know. 2,000 calories. Let's say 2,000 calories, you're not going to gain weight and you're not going to lose weight. Okay, that's your maintenance level. Now, you eat over 2,000 calories, you're going to start to gain weight. You eat under 2,000 calories, you're going to start to lose weight. It really is almost that simple. Okay, the problem is you finding out what your number is. You don't know what your number is, and that's why I'm going to teach you how to find your number, but it's not going to be perfect. So what you do is you track your food, and that's going to give you a much better idea what your number is. let's see, a couple other things I don't want you to worry about is like number of meals eaten. Okay, it's not that big of a deal. You hear a lot of people talk about 6 meals. You hear a lot of people talk about fasting and fast for 12 hours. Like, here's the biggest thing, okay? All of this stuff works, but you have to stay within this calorie range, right? I could eat 6 meals a day. If it equals 2,000 calories, it doesn't really matter that much if I eat 2 meals a day that equal 2,000 calories. Okay, you have to find what works best for you. You have to find, everybody's situation is different, and so 6 meals, 2 meals, 3 meals, 4 meals, it's not that big of a deal. You have to find what works for you, but it has to fit within our structured overall plan of, if you're wanting to lose weight, you have to find a calorie deficit. Okay, so that's that. If I'm at 2,000 maintenance level, taking in calories, I have to be below that number. And I don't want to be way below that number, because then I'm going to feel like I'm hungry all the time and starving, and my metabolism is going to drop really quick. I'm also going to probably lose a lot of muscle mass. That's one thing I didn't mention, guys, is you will lose not just fat, you're going to lose muscle. And so the way that we combat that is, one, you want to take the weight loss slower, and 2, high protein, 3, weight training, okay? So that's something I didn't mention in yesterday's video that I wanted to. And then things like gluten. Okay, you don't need to worry about gluten. It's not going to affect your weight loss unless you're a celiac or unless you have some gluten intolerance. Okay, gluten it's one of those huge words right now that marketers are using it to sell items, and gluten really, from everything that I've seen, is not a big deal unless you're a celiac. So don't worry about all these small little things. Like I've been saying, it's not a big deal. What we want to think is, we need to find you need to find your calorie intake, and then from there get into a little bit of a mild calorie deficit, so that you're losing that 0.5 to 1% of body weight per week. Okay, and I'm going to tell you right now that none of this is perfect. What we're doing is, we go ahead and we lay out a plan, we try it, we track the results. Is it working? If it's not working, we need to change our plan. We need to restructure something and try something different. And that's all that it is. There's nothing perfect in fitness, okay? Your body is constantly adapting and adjusting, and so you have to change things up as you go along. Okay, so the biggest thing you can do is portion control, though. I talked about yesterday how I don't want you to try to overhaul your diet all at once, okay? That doesn't work long term. And so the first step and the best thing that you can do is try to monitor your portions more. Don't eat so much. Eat 80% of what you're used to eating. And then just by monitoring your portions, you're eating less calories, and boom, you start to lose weight. Okay, that's the first step. That's the best thing you can do, is just eat smaller portions. That's it. Let's see. So how does exercise play a role into this? Okay, when you move throughout the day, you burn calories. All right, so you have a sedentary person who doesn't move very often, so they don't burn many calories through daily movement. If you exercise and or you're moving throughout the day, you're not in a seated position, and maybe you go and lift weights or do some cardiovascular exercise, something, you're going to be burning calories by doing that stuff. So how does that play into this? Well, let's say that I can eat 2,000 calories a day for my maintenance level, and if I want to create more of an imbalance there, so I'm in a deficit, maybe I need to be working out 45 minutes 3 to 4 times a week, so that I can still eat the 2,000 calories, but be burning more, so I'm creating a deficit. I hope that makes sense. I think that I kind of, blogged that up a little bit, but what we're trying to do is create a deficit, and it can either come through eating less food, eating less calories, or it can come through moving more, or it can come through a combination of the two, okay? So maybe I don't want to eat less, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work out an extra day a week or 2 days a week, or when I'm working out, my rest periods are going to be shorter so that my intensity is higher, which is going to make me burn more calories during my workouts. Or I'm going to get a standing desk at work so that I'm standing there more often, and therefore I'm burning more calories throughout the day. Boom, I just started a weight loss, as long as I don't eat those calories back in. Okay, I hope that makes sense. How to find your caloric intake. Okay, what you want to do is Google BMR calculator. Okay, BMR, basal metabolic rate calculator. That's what we're looking for. It's going to ask you what's your height, your age, your sex, your weight. From there, you're just going to hit, I don't know what it says, like submit or something. You'll hit that button, and then it's going to spit a number back at you. Okay, that number that it spits back at you, that's saying that if you didn't move throughout the day, that you would burn that many calories. Okay, so from there, we know you're going to be moving throughout the day. There's another button right below it that says Harris and Benedict calculator or equation. Harris and Benedict equation. Okay, so once you enter in your information in the calculator, you get that number back. You're going to go to the Harris and Benedict equation, which is on that same page. It should be. There should be a link to it. Harris and Benedict equation. And then you're going to multiply your number by another number to find out what your overall caloric intake value is. So what you'll do, you'll enter your height, age, weight, sex. It's going to say something like 1,436 calories per day. For you, if you weren't moving, would keep you in your exact weight where you are, okay? That's your maintenance level if you're sedentary. From there, Harris and Benedict equation is going to have you multiply it by like 1.2 or I forget the exact numbers, 1.2, 1.3, something like that, depending on how active you are. So then you multiply it and then you add those two numbers together, okay? And that would tell you what your maintenance level is. Okay, so we're still not done. From that point, you know that you don't want to maintain. You want to create a calorie deficit. Okay, if you're not in a calorie deficit, you're not going to lose weight. Period. End of story. Okay, you have to be in a calorie deficit. And so you found out what your maintenance level is. Now we want to subtract anywhere between like 300 to 500 calories from that. Okay, depending how high it is. If you're around like 2,200 calories a day is your maintenance level, then go ahead and bump it down to like 1,800. Okay, if your maintenance level is more like 1,900, then bump it down to like 1,600, 1,650, something like that. And that should get you to start losing weight. So Google BMR calculator, put in the figures, take that number, press Harris and Benedict equation, multiply that original number by the Harris and Benedict equation, add those two numbers together, there's your maintenance level, and then subtract 300 to 500 so that you get into a calorie deficit. Okay, because remember, if you're not in a calorie deficit, you're not losing weight, period. If you're, something I want to mention, if you're in a calorie surplus, meaning you're eating more calories than your maintenance level, you're gaining weight. Okay, it is basically that simple. Let's see. I've been training for quite a while, and nutrition is one of the hardest aspects for not only you, but for me as a trainer. Okay, it's extremely difficult to teach. It's hard to hold people accountable on. So here's what usually happens is I'll do that formula. Okay, I'll find out the BMR calculator, the Harrison-Benedict equation. I'll find out their number, and then I'll have them start tracking their food. And we can put in your goal specifically in MyFitnessPal, and I can teach you how to do that as well. But where I'm going with this is that I did a video last week about psychology and how people tracking their food are usually terrible at it. Okay, so here's what happens is you're going to estimate your food and you're going to be wrong. All right? It's not a huge deal though, because what we do is as long as you're consistently wrong, the numbers are okay. We know that if you're not losing weight, you're eating too many calories. Okay, no matter what your tracking says. I don't care if your goal says you should be eating 1,700 calories and you're eating 1,500 and you're not losing weight, guess what? You're eating too many calories. Okay, and your tracking probably isn't right anyways. It just probably isn't. Okay, the tracking, what we're doing here is we're basically setting it up so that we try something. Okay, we know we have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to try a number, and we're going to track it, and we're going to track our weight, and we're going to see what happens. If you're not losing weight, you're not in a calorie deficit, and you need to subtract another 100, 150 calories, or you need to work out more. One of the two, something so that you create that calorie deficit. Okay, you have to be patient with yourself. That's why this can take 2 weeks before you start to see weight loss, because you want to track it, try it, see if it's working. If it's not working, well, then we adjust again. And so that can take a little bit of time. But if you're not tracking your food, you're not tracking your weight, you don't know what's going on, you have no clue. You just have no clue. And so that's why that stuff is super important. Track your food, track your weight, see what's going on. If you're not getting the results you want, you're doing something wrong, pure and simple. Okay, so calories are the most important aspect to weight loss. If you're not in a calorie deficit, you don't lose weight. If you're in a calorie surplus, you gain weight. You're in a calorie maintenance level, you maintain your weight. Okay, it's basically that simple. Is there more to the story? Yes, there is. I'm going to go over a lot more with you as well in further videos. And so track your food, find out that number, find out your calorie number, like I told you. Google it, find out exactly how many calories you should be eating. And then from there, plug it into MyFitnessPal. There's, let's see, there's a more button on MyFitnessPal, and then you hit goals, and under that goals, you can manually plug in your numbers. It's completely free, okay? So you manually plug them in, and then you'll start tracking your food. From there, track your weight. If you're not seeing what you want, if you're not seeing weight loss, then you're not in a calorie deficit. But do be a little bit patient, okay? Give it like 5 days before you decide that, oh, well, I'm just going to go ahead and drop my calories down again. Don't rush it, okay? You don't want to go into a crash diet, and yeah, just don't rush it. It can take a little bit of time. Just give yourself like 5 days. So try those things. I hope this is helpful. If you guys have questions, you know how to reach me. I will definitely get a hold of you and respond to any and all of your questions. So this is part 2. In the next video, I'm going to be going into talking about macronutrients, why protein is so important. We'll talk about carbs in that one as well. So I'm trying to structure this, line this out so that I can make it as simple and easy as possible for you guys. But if you have questions, let me know, and there's more videos to come. So Corey Nielsen Fitness, thanks for watching. Have a great day.